Hello, lovelies. Welcome to my podcast, Souls Awakening Together. In this episode, I'm going to be looking into the energy field of Jordan Peterson, a very well-known professor, teacher, clinical psychologist who has become quite famous for his controversial teachings and views, spiritual views. And this is a spiritual channel, so it seems appropriate. Came to me in meditation to complete the spirit reading for my next celebrity spirit reading. And I have seen some of his content over the years, for sure. His stuff has come across my feed several times. But I did not know that he was sick. And I was amazed to watch the video that his daughter, Mikhaila, put out not too long ago, earlier this month, saying that he had a chronic inflammatory response syndrome, CIRS. They believe that it was caused by mold exposure, and they suspect that it has something to do with spiritual attacks. So what could that possibly mean? That's what really intrigued me and made me understand why it is that my spirit guided me to do this reading at this time. If you are new here, I'm Queen Wortham. I'm a spiritual transformation coach and an intuitive energy healer. I have the ability to look into people's energy fields and read the energy. I sense the energy and I interpret the energy. The information that comes through is guided by the highest self of Jordan Peterson. So we all have a spiritual intelligence around us. It's part of our spirit, part of who we are. You can think of it as angels and guides. They're the ones who are guiding us, protecting us, leading us to our expansion. So I'm able to tune in to that intelligence and figure out what's going on. I can see the past, present, and future in someone's energy field. I can see what's going on with their body. Comes in very handy for a lot of situations. So I read the energy fields of celebrities for the benefit of my audience members and anyone who chooses to watch this video. So the wisdom that comes through is specifically meant for you at a higher vibration. There's resonance, there's sameness. Whoever's watching this is going to be able to find something in these messages that pertains to them, that's especially meant for them and that will benefit them. So I have tuned into his energy field. I have been sensing some things, but I am so interested to see what comes through. So with that said, let's take a look. So I see things according to, it's divided by chakras, by energy centers. Each energy center pertains to a different area of life, an area of the human experience. Over here, I see the future, present to future. Here, I see very present moment. Here, sometimes I see sometimes what's here is what is eternal. And then here is where I see the past. So first thing I'm seeing, it's right there in between his sacral chakra and power chakra. That has to do with relationships and his sense of power. First thing I'm seeing, the most important part of his present moment right now is his relationships with his family. How beautiful. I'm feeling it so strong. So strong. He knows, he's a very spiritual man, and he knows that God has him in the position that he's in right now for a reason. And the number one reason is to make him slow down long enough to really feel the power of his love for his family and his family's love for him. And he's feeling it so strong. He's thinking about it so much. He's tuning into it. And the energy feels beautiful. That aspect of his experience right now just feels beautiful. It's love at the level that has the power to heal, and it is healing him. Feeling that so strong. He is feeling it. They're feeling it for him. He is being showered with love. It's like everyone who loves him just wants to tell him how much they love him, and it's healing him. Wow. It's strong. Strong. So many people depending on him. So many people just looking up to him, seeing him as their salvation, seeing him as the one who saved their life, who turned everything around for him, for them. That's his role. That's the role of his persona. It's the role of his work in so many people's lives. So there are people thinking about him, sending him love. There are people sending him letters. Anyone who has a direct line to him, who's able to get a message to him, they're all just flooding him with messages. There are gifts being sent to him, flowers being sent to him. Huge, huge love. More love than he has ever felt before. And he's seeing so much, like why didn't he ever slow down enough to feel all of this? He didn't want to let himself receive it before. It's like he was too humble. He was too humble, too focused on his work. And he didn't want to, when he would receive praise, he'd be like, yeah. He would kind of push it away a little bit, like, I'm not here for the praise. He always wanted to make it about the work. But he's letting it in. He's slowing down enough to see it, and there's so much of it, and it's just so touching. It's cracking his heart open, and it's healing his body. There, according to the video that she put out, there had been improvement. He had been in the ICU for several weeks, and he had been taken out of the ICU. So there was improvement, but he was still in a position where, they're still very afraid. And I guess they had gone through so much with his health that they weren't feeling really confident yet. But it is the love that is healing him. And God is love. The vibration of love is so close to the vibration of God. The energetic frequency of love is so, it's like that's where pure source energy starts. Above the vibration of love is the vibration of joy and the vibration of enlightenment, which is just pure source energy. So love or above those higher vibrations, there is such order and coherence in those vibrations. That's where the healing happens. The spontaneous healings. That's where it happens. And he's just flooded with it right now. Beautiful. So what's next? What I'm hearing is that he has had wounds on his heart from childhood, wounds that blocked his heart in so many ways. And he's feeling this fullness in his heart that he's never felt before, a connection to his heart that he's never felt before. And they're showing me in my chest the feeling, like how his heart feels. So when I look into someone's energy field, it's like I'm in the position of them. And I'm literally seeing what is around them. And I can do this for my clients, and I can do this for you too. Help you see where you are energetically, help you see what's in the way of whatever it is that you want. So let's talk about the wounds from the past. They want to talk about the wounds from the past. So in his power chakra, what is it? I've been sensing this ever since I got the message to do this and I found out about all of this. I have been sensing these wounds in the past, and I haven't been able to put my finger on exactly what it is. Well, I just knew it was going to come up in the reading, so I didn't go in too deep. I was just kind of trying to research and get straight on some things. Power chakra. I don't know a lot about his upbringing. I know he grew up in Canada. So did he grow up Christian? So there was this. So first thing I'm seeing is just an environment of so much structure and such high expectations. A restrictive environment. Restrictive and strict environment. Not a lot of room for error. High expectation of excellence. Really high expectation. And that was the environment in which the wounding took place. That's important to know for some reason. Super structured. Like I'm seeing a schedule that's like military. So many mental boxes having to be checked off every single day. Cleanliness at a military level. So I'm seeing his mother like a drill sergeant, almost like just making sure that every single thing totally perfect, totally in order. And then I'm seeing his father like up on a soapbox, and just talking, teaching his children constantly, like moral lessons constantly. So that's the environment. But what is the wound? So I feel like they're like going to divulge it slowly. Like I want to like get to the nitty gritty. Like I want to get to the darkness. I want to figure out exactly what it is. But for some reason, it is important to visualize this environment before they tell us. Okay. So within this very restrictive environment, there wasn't a lot of room to be creative. So he is a Gemini with a Libra moon. And that made him very intellectual, made him very obedient. Not necessarily obedient, just air energy is very flexible. It can fit in almost any environment. Just the way that air itself does. So he could fit in the environment. He could work with the environment, work within the environment. But if he wanted to be creative, paint, read, cry, just get in touch with himself, he had to do it in private. He had so many ideas, and he didn't really have the freedom to speak his ideas, or when he did speak his ideas, they were not always received well. So I'm seeing him writing his ideas down, secret journal. Like he had to have this private world to himself as a child that he didn't let anybody else in. And I'm just seeing this precious, smart little boy writing in his journal, pressing flowers in his journal. Like he had this sensitivity. His Venus sign is Cancer. So he had this caring sensitivity in him that just wasn't fully welcomed. It's like a little too feminine in the eyes of his parents. Okay. So this is in his power chakra. This is old energy. It's stuck energy. It's stuck energy. It's something that has reverberated since his childhood. And it's something that is draining his life force. But it doesn't sound that bad. Okay. Oh, okay. What is it? I'm seeing some kind of dark stuff, and I'm wondering where to start with it. So I was wondering, was there abuse? Was there trauma? And what I'm seeing is that there were episodes, not an everyday thing, not something that happened on a regular basis. Like it wasn't a theme of his childhood, but there were incidences. So what I'm seeing, I'll tell you what I'm seeing. What I'm seeing is his father beating him with a whip to the point that he was bleeding. So, I don't like to, I really don't like to, like air people's dirty laundry, like that's so not my intention. I'm bringing to you what his spirit is bringing to you. I'm feeling into the energy. I'm seeing what I'm seeing, and I'm interpreting it. So I just want to say that as a disclaimer, because I have no ill will towards any of these people. I mean, not at all, not at all. I want the best for everyone. And I love and accept everyone exactly as they are. And, sometimes when these things come through, I don't know, I'm overthinking it. I'm overthinking like how it's going to be taken, So his father, his parents would talk about like they were afraid that he was gay when he was younger. And also what wants to come through is that if he had been born in a different era, that that he very likely would have been bisexual, like bisexual experiences, just like so normal, so common. I see it so much because I was a high school and middle school teacher for 9 years, especially when I was teaching the middle schoolers, which was much more recent. I just saw lots of bisexual tendencies in those adolescent kids, especially in the boys, because they can't keep their hands to themselves. And I just saw how, in living in a country where gay marriage is legal and where it's just become so much more acceptable, and at least, it's out in the open that there are a lot of queer people out there, a whole lot. And so most younger kids, not all of them, of course, but most younger kids, if they have that kind of tendency at all, they're going to experiment with it. Chances are they're going to have some kind of experiment with, some kind of experience with it. And so, it's incredibly common. If you didn't know, incredibly common. So, yeah, so that's what, that is something that wants to come through. So it's something that he literally felt always stuffed down. And, it's always a secret, always something that he felt guilty about, never actually had an experience. But yeah, it was like there were pictures of men, that his father found. And they weren't even that bad. They were just a little fishy, a little fishy, why does this 12-year-old boy have these pictures in his room? And his dad just thought he could beat it out of him. So it's that happened. That is part of the problem here. But what I'm hearing is that it's that was the culmination of a lifetime of just fearing that he was going to disappoint his father to that extent. It's there was always the threat of that, always that feeling that maybe he was just a little too weird. And, and maybe his father was going to snap one day. And he did. He snapped. So it's like his father just always kept it under wraps until that happened. So there was that. And what else? Very much feel like it was something else. So what? Okay. So it's something with his mother. She had some kind of abuse. She had physical abuse as a child, and she had sexual abuse as a child. So long-term ongoing thing. And what I've seen, in my own life, with my grandparents and parents, with so many clients looking into their energy fields, what I've seen over and over again is that when these kinds of wounds go unhealed, people will try to stuff it down. People will never speak of it again. They'll act like it never happened. They'll even deny that it ever happened if it ever comes up. Most of the time it doesn't come up in these situations where people have taken an unconscious vow to just stuff it down for all of eternity. But what ends up happening is that they are carrying the shame of it. They're carrying the energy of it in their bodies. And we are all so psychic. So a child growing up with a parent who has been through something like that, they sense it. They sense it on a psychic level, and they will stuff it down into their psyche to the same extent that the parents do, but it's still there. Like the child takes on the parent's energy, and then, it'll come out in some way. So these clusters of dark energy, they get stuck in the body, stuck in the energy field, and the density of them will attract things that match it. And so, so a parent who has been abused, who stuffs it down and never heals it, will, they could raise their child, never abuse them, never lay a hand on them their entire life, but then the child will somehow end up in an abusive relationship with a spouse, because the vibration of it is there. And it attracts, like the more dense it is, the more dark it is, the more stuffed down it is, the more it will just attract the same. It is the universe's great way to rebalance the energy. And it seems counterintuitive, but if you are an adult who continues to have abusive relationships, and you're able to, through psychotherapy or through meditation or whatever the modality may be, if you try to go deep into it and heal it, then you'll be able to find the root of it. And so that's why the universe keeps bringing you more, so that you will be forced to look at it. It's the universe's way of bringing your attention to it. And just the light of awareness on its own is so healing. So that had so much to do with his mother's rigid military way of handling things. It's like she just wanted everything to be so perfect, like so much control, so much just controlling every little thing. And what I'm hearing is that she was great at it, like just great at handling every single aspect of the home and every aspect of her children's lives, like very, very smart. But the energy behind it, there was fear in that energy. There was love there too, of course. We're always feeling so many things at once, vibrating out so many things at once. So that's the wounding. And it was this, because he's so sensitive, he could feel his mother's energy, and that'll just drive you crazy. It'll drive you crazy when you're constantly feeling like something is wrong and nobody's acting like anything is wrong. Like constantly feeling his mother's sadness and his mother's fear, but what's coming out of her mouth and her behavior isn't showing it, but he could feel it. So that's, just part of where his curiosity about humans started. What is going on? What's going on beneath the surface? And Venus in Cancer has so much to do with just all of his questioning. Cancer energy, it's a water sign, but it's deep like the ocean, mysterious like the ocean. Okay, so now they want to talk about what's going on in his body specifically. I'm seeing it in his power chakra in the future, lots of inflammation. Okay, so something I read tonight is that he always battled with depression. Depression is repressed emotions, repressed anger. things that he wasn't allowed to. Yeah, it's like it's a perfect match. Perfect match. What I'm seeing here in his power chakra in the past and power chakra in the present to the future. That depression matches the mother's energy. It is repressed anger. Repressed anger. Depression is almost always repressed anger. It's repressed anger, repressed shame. And I know from experiencing depression so much myself is that it is a mysterious feeling. You don't even know what you're upset about. No idea. It's just this cloud that keeps showing up day after day. You can start out the day really good, and then before you know it, the cloud's back again. Or sometimes you start the morning and then the cloud will eventually go away by the end of the day. Sometimes it doesn't go away for months, until you start to get to the bottom of it and figure out how to deal with it. So I believe, I don't do the best research. I do like cursory glance at different articles. But I believe what I read is that like he's been on antidepressants for many years. And what like someone in his energy field is saying loud and clear, that stuff will mess you up. It'll mess you up taking it long term. It can be a lifesaver short term. Such a lifesaver. It can really help to turn things around short term, but it'll mess you up taking it long term. This is not my opinion. This is what's coming through. So it like dulls your dopamine receptors. That's what I'm hearing. It gives you a false sense of things being okay when they are just not okay. It numbs you. It numbs you to what is true. So in order to deal with his depression, he changed his diet. So his diet for a long time has just been basically meat and vegetables, which should not result in inflammation. Yet his body is responding to so many things. He is having an inflammatory response to so many things. Yeah, this is just, it's just one of those really, really complicated medical situations that conventional medicine has no idea what to do with. They do what they can, but it's so complex. It's so emotional in nature. And the condition changes with just the slightest little things, slightest change in body chemistry, slightest, just one food will end up just throwing the whole thing off balance. One food one day will throw the whole thing off balance. Shaky, just this shaky condition with the inflammation, a lot of pain, so much just disconnection. I'm sensing this disconnection between like what the food is supposed to do in his body and what it actually does. So it's like there's like so much inflammation that things just are not functioning well. Like there's like a sequence of events that is supposed to happen when you eat a certain food, and And instead of it just going from one place to another, one thing, causing another thing to react, and then, signal something else, and your body creates this in response. There's so many things that happen with every meal. And yeah, and then it's like, his diet is not, it's so crazy. It's so crazy how in conventional medicine, how diet is just such a low consideration, and hospital food is so bad. It's so bad. So like the hospital food is messing him up even more. And it's so complicated. And there are so few people who, there's relatively so few people who truly understand it, that like whatever healing power food may have for him right now, he doesn't have access to it right now. He doesn't have his usual diet. He can't prepare food for himself. He can't go shopping for himself. His family, they're trying to help. Yeah, I'm seeing it's like leaky gut syndrome. It's what it's called. Sometimes it's like there are parts of his digestive system that are permeable that should not be permeable. So there are foods that are getting into his bloodstream too early, and that is aggravating the inflammation. But there are so many things that the body can do to heal all of this, and stress prevents it. So I know from being in the world of Joe Dispenza, being a part of the Joe Dispenza community for such a long time, I've heard stories, seen the testimonials, and I know firsthand the way that when you're feeling good, when you like really, really elevate your emotions and your body is flooded with all of those feel-good hormones, all of the oxytocin, the natural dopamine, everything that your pineal gland releases during breath work and meditation, when your body is filled with all of that, then you're signaling to your nervous system that your environment is safe. And when your nervous system believes that the environment is safe, then the body just goes into repair and healing mode. And so people are able to go to those Joe Dispenza retreats and spend 7 days and heal whatever they have, whether it's cancer or back pain or autoimmune disorder or, whatever it is. They are able to experience healing, if only for a short time, while they're at that retreat. And then for a lot of people, if they're able to maintain that state, at least to a certain extent, when they go home, then they will experience a permanent healing. And cortisol, the hormone of stress, just throws it all out of whack, all of it. It's like just beating up everything else. Just creates such chaos in the body. So even though he had a really good diet, he just was putting a lot of pressure on himself to do so many things. He had so many things going on, traveling all the time, so many interviews all the time, always on podcast, always, and just so many projects. So his cortisol levels were elevated, of course. And then the antidepressants is making him numb to the cortisol, making him numb to his own stress, making him numb to the signals that his nervous system would be sending him. Just tell him like things are really not okay. Your body needs your attention. Your mind needs your attention. Your soul needs your attention. So yeah, I experienced with my husband when he was alive, before he became sick with cancer, he went through an incredibly stressful period, incredibly stressful. It went on for about 2.5 years, 3 years. And the beginning of it was his mother dying of cancer. And so, he didn't know how to deal with it, like how a lot of people don't know how to deal with it. And he became very, very depressed, extremely depressed. And he would just sit at the dinner table and cry, like cry every single night at the dinner table. And man, I had a little infant at the time, and I didn't know what to do. I had never, it was like he was just a totally different person. And, I didn't have this, definitely pre-spiritual awakening for me. And, I didn't have the tools. I didn't have the bandwidth to even be able to be there for him, and support him. I guess I'm sure I did what I could, but all that to say, he started taking Wellbutrin. Bupropion is the generic name for it. And it got better. It really did. It got better. He took it it was less than a year. And then because he was an artist and a musician and just very in tune with his emotional experience, he just started to notice how much it was affecting his creativity. And he just knew, like, even though he wasn't crying anymore, there were still things going on there that he intuitively did not feel right being cut off from his emotions in that way. Because in the past, he was able to use those emotions as fuel for his music and his art. And he could just see that, like, his ideas weren't there and the passion wasn't there in his music. And it affected our relationship also. It affected the intimacy in our relationship, the emotional connection in our relationship. And so, he weaned himself off of it because of that. So that's my secondhand experience with it. I've never taken them myself, even though I have dealt with depression a lot. Very familiar with depression, not familiar with antidepressants, other than the experience with my husband. So something else wants to come up in his past. Okay, so his relationship with his wife in the past, when they met. Okay, so this is what's coming through. So what I'm hearing, he was very much, like, at the time that he met her, he was very much separated from his childhood, from his family, from the environment that he grew up in. He had created his own little world, and he was very happy, very, very happy. Just like the world was his oyster. There were just so many possibilities, so much hope for the future at the time that he met her. And I'm sensing just a beautiful love, like just very, very strong emotional, spiritual connection, strong attraction between them. And in the environment just lit them both up. The world that they were living in just lit them both up. So many ideas, so much talking, so much hope. And then when he got further into being a grown-up, having the work, having the responsibilities, having the home, having the children, then he started falling back into old patterns of thought. The energy that he created in his adult life started to match the energy of the energetic patterns of his childhood home. It was a more evolved version, for sure, more healed, more evolved, much less military. But he just did that thing that so many of us do, where he just started acting and reacting in the same way that his father did. Like taking on his father's energy, taking on, like they say, like taking on the sins of the father. Yeah, just taking on his father and his mother's. Just unconsciously copying the same energetic patterns, the same patterns of thought, same patterns of behavior, stuffing things down. And in his work has always been an escape from all of that stuff going on internally. Something else to think about, something that he could be fascinated by, but have enough emotional detachment from it that it didn't have the power to make him miserable, like his own feelings. So yeah, it's like if he just somehow could have kept his world more the same as it was when he met his wife, if he could have broken away from the patterns of his family so much more, then he wouldn't have just gone so deeply into the same energetic patterns that just make him feel so stuck and so much just needing to stuff things down and find an escape. Escape has always been work. So what I'm being directed to tell you now is this thought that I had, something that I noticed when I was watching one of his lectures earlier today. He was talking about the Bible, or the talk was going to be about the Bible. I watched like the first 20 or 30 minutes of it. He didn't get into the Bible just yet. He was talking about Nietzsche and Freud and Carl Jung, and just talking about their, just kind of giving the audience a brief overview of their philosophies. And he has so many words, and it's fascinating to listen to him talk. But it was just all of these like existential questions, and he was talking about these questions as if they don't have an answer. And I was just thinking, like, wow, it's just too bad how many people there are who are so smart and also have such a reverence for God and are also spiritual, but they don't meditate. Like if you meditate, it just, like, all of those existential questions eventually just kind of start to, like, either they can be answered or they're so meaningless. You see that people are just distracting themselves, because it's like when you go deep enough, and it's something that people also experience when they do psychedelics. When you go deep enough, then you reach this point where there's such a knowing that you are guided and protected, that you came from God. It's like there's this feeling of remembering God and remembering being a part of God. And when you feel that, there are no words for it, but it brings so much peace and so much clarity. And he talks so much about these ethical dilemmas. And I think that that's why he and so many other people have leaned on religion, to such an extent, because it gives structure, it gives order, it gives a direction. But the thing that I was seeing that he's missing, that so many of us are missing, is that connection to God that is in your heart, your personal connection to God that is literally in your heart. So I talk about this in practically every video that I've ever made on my YouTube channel, that your connection to God is literally inside of your heart. And if you can tune into it, silence your mind for long enough, tune into it, and just ask your heart yes or no questions, then your heart will respond yes or no. It's a feeling response. There are emotions that bubble up. So many of us are cut off from the emotions of our heart that it can be very difficult to hear those yeses and nos, but it's there. It's always there. And so a lot of people may experience the yes as a happy feeling and the no as a sad or depressed feeling. But even if you're not feeling the actual feelings when you're asking your heart yes or no, there's still a whole body muscle response that happens. It's called muscle testing in chiropractic training. And there are people who do muscle testing. Like I went to I don't even know what you call it. Like she was like an energy specialist, an energy healer of some way. And she was working in a psychologist's office, but she did a full body muscle testing thing on me where she was just testing the strength of all of my muscles from head to toe. And she was able to determine, just like she would say, like, hold up your leg. And she would like put a little pressure on my leg. And based on how my leg would respond, she would know which energy meridian was out of balance for me. And so I can't get too far into that without, going down a rabbit hole. But basically, you have a whole body muscle response that emanates from your heart, and it is constantly guiding you. And I was asking my heart yes or no questions and getting yes or no answers from my heart for a good 15 years before it eventually evolved into what I now experience as a full psychic connection. All of the information emanates from my heart. And I've even in spirit readings seen these angels and guides that I see in people's energy fields. I've seen it as this, like a projection coming out of the heart, and they're like holograms. Now that's cool. That is cool if you know things about quantum reality and how we are living in a holographic universe. That's something to think about. I love to hear a little. I don't, I'm not very strong in my science education at all, but occasionally I will hear a little tidbit, and that matches up with things that I see in meditation, and I love that. So yeah, like all of these moral dilemmas, they can be answered for each person from your individual perspective, taking into consideration the entire quantum field, all of the energy, all like everything in the past, present, and future, everything that's going on with every other person. It all can be known from your heart. The heart is so wise. And so you can literally trust the yeses or nos, to the extent like it can be your entire religion. That is that's literally my entire religion. Like I meditate so that I can tune in more deeply with the divine signals that are coming to me as guidance. And, and I, of course, help other people do the same thing. So yeah, that's something that just really wanted to come through, because I know that so many people who are interested in Jordan Peterson's work, you have those ethical questions, you have those philosophical dilemmas going on in your mind all the time. And, and every person is on a different life path. Everyone's energy is vibrating out a different song. And our perspective is completely unique. There is no other living person or consciousness or being of any kind that will ever have our unique perspective. And so there's no one religion for everybody. There's no one answer for everybody. There are things that tend to be true for most people, but you don't know. You don't know where someone is in their path. Never mind just what goes on in a single lifetime. You don't know what's happened in all their past lives, what they're heading towards in their future lives. There's no way that anyone can know. There's no way that anyone can actually direct somebody else for what to do. You just have to listen to what is inside of your heart. And it sounds so simple, and in a way it is, but it's not easy. But it is that literal. It's that literal. What every single person should do, it's always being broadcast to you from your heart, always. And I just wish I could tell Jordan Peterson that. When I was listening to that lecture, I was like, what about asking your heart? What about meditating? What about silencing your mind? Stop talking about all this stuff. Stop saying a million words to describe one thing. Just silence your mind. Go into the silence. That's where all of the order is. And I'm also it sounds like I'm just talking, but I'm telling you guys, like, this is like with every word I say, with every sentence that I say, I'm getting the yes from my heart to share this with you. Excuse me. Those are my alarms telling me that it's going to be time to go to bed. Okay. So the other thing that I wanted to say, it's that when people do meditate, they all have the same experiences. Eventually, when they go deep enough and they get good enough at it and they do it consistently, they have the same feelings and the same experiences, no matter their age, no matter their religious background, no matter their beliefs. If they just go into the silence for long enough, they will feel that same thing, that connection with something greater, that infinite peace, that knowing that you are loved and held by this consciousness that you can't see. You can just feel it. And when you feel it and you really get in touch with it, nobody can tell you that it doesn't exist. So when I started meditating with a group for the first time on a regular basis, it was an online group. We would meditate over Zoom, but I was so amazed by that, the way that we would go deep. We would meditate sometimes for 4 hours together. It was usually more like an hour and a half, but sometimes it was quite a bit longer. And then we would talk about what we were experiencing afterwards. And it was the same for all of us, even though we were all different ages, we were all over the world, all different ethnicities, completely different people. The only thing that we had in common is that we just really, really wanted to go deep in meditation. And that was so remarkable to me, that we were all going to the same place and we all felt that same feeling. And when you go into the silence, it just happens so naturally that your heart is activated and you come into this heart and brain coherence where if you look at it on a scan, it looks like your heart and your brain are singing the same song. It's going up in the same places, down in the same places, like it's the same rhythm. And when you think about every person asking their heart and getting a yes or no from their heart for every single thing, it seems on the surface that it may cause some chaos because, it does happen when you're in a family or in a work environment or just in a world in general where most people are not tuning in with your heart and you're the one person who's tuning in with your heart, then what your heart is telling you really may conflict with what's going on around you. But if everybody's tuning in with their heart, like I experienced at not to harp on Joe Dispenza, he's not the only one who has privilege to this knowledge. He's doing it and teaching it on a massive scale that, as far as I know, has never been done before. And so at the Joe Dispenza retreat, I was there for 7 days. And I would say by day three, we had all been going so deeply into meditation, into that silence, and creating so much order in our minds, in our bodies, in our energy fields, and so much order between our hearts and our brains that the natural side effect was this coherence in the group. And in 2,000 people, we could stand shoulder to shoulder on a street waiting for the walking meditation to start. And it was just a sea of peace and silence. And Joe Dispenza's scientists have studied it, and they have likened it to it is the phenomenon that is called emergence in biology. It's the thing that makes the school of fish all turn at the same time, or the flock of birds all swoop down at the same time. They're not following a leader. In the past, the scientists thought that they were following a leader. They are all of one mind. They're all internally guided to do exactly the same thing. And that is what happens with groups of humans naturally when there's peace. When there's peace and there's order, and everyone is tuned in with that peace. We all want to do the same thing. We all get along. There's just this natural order that happens. Can you hear my cat? I have to let her in. Pardon the interruption. So those are all things that wanted to come through specifically for you guys, for all of you who are new here, who came to this video because you're interested in Jordan Peterson. These are things that wanted to come through. So traumas from the past that have been stuffed down and unhealed, they create an interruption in the energy flow. They create a dissonance in the energy flow. Through meditation, we become aware of it. We see our own shadows. We face our own demons. And that is something that makes so many people afraid of meditation. And there are many people who have tried meditation and they have encountered the darkness in their own energy field, the demons and entities that are in their own energy field, the negative stuck energy that is in their own energy field. And they have determined that they're opening themselves up to negative energies, but they're just experiencing their own negative energy that needs to be cleared out, that's asking to be seen. It's asking to be brought to the light. So meditation takes care of that. It makes you aware. And in that silence, you get a clearer connection to the guidance that's trying to come to you. And God willing, you're led step by step to what it is that you need to heal your traumas and to clear out this negative energy that's around you. So that dissonance that happens with the unhealed trauma can just mess up all the signals. It can mess up your inner guidance. It can mess up your ability to have a calm, coherent experience in a group. And it can mess up your body. But what I have seen over and over again with my clients and with being a part of a spiritual community of meditators is that when those traumas are cleared, it's like pulling it up by the roots, pulling up the problem by the roots, and their bodies heal. Their bodies can finally get the signal that they are in a safe place. So that's what's going on. That is what's going on with Jordan Peterson. He has stuffed down trauma from childhood so deeply, and he's just not in a world where that information is coming to him, where that idea is coming to him. He's not in a world where ideas like that in general are accepted. Like, it's not the go-to place, when someone is having trouble like he's having. But that's what's going on. He needs to go back and heal this. He needs to shed the light of awareness on it. He needs forgiveness. And what I'm hearing is that he has forgiven in the sense of praying about it, but he did the thing like so many of us do. It's like you do a little bit of healing work, you ask God to take care of it for you a couple of times, and then you just think, well, that's done, I'm never going to think about that again. But it sometimes, when the trauma is very deep, it has attracted so many things into your life that are a like vibration. And there's so many things about the way that you think and act that match it, that were caused by it, that you gotta keep going back to it over and over again. But it's a beautiful process. It can be an extremely painful process, extremely painful, but it is beautiful, because the thing that happens, not only do you heal, but you understand that wound so clearly that you can hold space for others who have had similar wounds. And you can bring clarity and love and healing to them. So when that trauma is cleared, what's left is just more of who you really are, which is God, which is love. So that's the incredibly beautiful natural side effect of going deep into these traumas and going back to them over and over again, looking at them over and over again, doing whatever you have to do to heal them over and over again, and to just take the time to see those patterns, the sameness of that trauma to all of the other things going on in your life that are unwanted. It all matches. But when you see it, you bring order to it, bring light to it, it clears it out. And what you're left with is nothing but you, and that is love, and that is God. I hope that's all helpful. because that is so much what wanted to come through for you guys in this situation with what he's going through. So they want to bring something to your attention. If you go back and listen to that video that Mikhaila Peterson put out, she said that the thing that happened right before her father got really, really sick to the point that he had to go into the hospital is that he cleaned out the basement of his parents' home. She was talking about it because of the mold. So she thought that it was mold exposure that made him fall ill. But I'm hearing so clearly it was not the mold exposure. It was the energy of the trauma. It was memories being brought up from his childhood. Things that he would never say. He would think it, stuff it down intuitively. I mean, just like instinctively, not intuitively. Instinctively touch it, stuff it down, because that's what he's done his whole life. Not say a single word about it. And so like it aggravated. Yeah, what I'm hearing is that like there was something specific, something that he came across that just brought up the memory so clearly, and it just stung. It was like it hurt. It hurt so bad. And he tried to stuff it down, and his body just rebelled. It's totally rebelled. Mm. Mm. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy what happens when we stuff down emotions. And oh, the poor men in my generation and older generations. I'm 52, and I think the men who are younger, who are around like in their early 40s and younger now, so many more of them were allowed to cry as little boys. But my age, and especially the men like in their 70s and 80s right now, ooh, they were never allowed to cry. So sad. So sad. I know, it still exists, obviously, that idea that crying is weak. And if you're a man, you can't cry. Like, ugh, makes me want to curse. F that. I feel like I've been risking getting in trouble on YouTube for saying too many curse words. So F that. Or maybe I'm just thinking that the people the people who are watching this who don't usually watch my channel are going to be offended. Maybe I'm just trying to be polite. Usually I would just say it. Okay. Feel like we're starting to wrap it up. A couple more things want to come through. What's it going to be? Seeing something tall in his power chakra. It's a spirit guide. Something tall in his power chakra. It's a male figure. Who is he? What is he guiding Jordan to? I'm feeling so good news. I think I kind of hinted at it in the first things that came through with the love, that like he just has a very, very high chance for survival. Life will never quite be the same for him. He's not going to be able to work at the level that he was working before, but he'll be able to oversee the work of others. He'll be able to oversee and influence the work of others. And also find a level of inner peace like he's never felt before, a level of inner peace that matches what he felt at that time when he first met his wife. He has to create an environment of freedom in his life, freedom and hope in his life. There's this lightness of like just not taking things so seriously, not just like there's like what he's gotten into in his career, in the bulk of his career, is just like having these philosophical issues and just trying to wrestle them down to the ground, and having this feeling like he has this, like his purpose has just become such a burden in a way, just trying to help people, trying to save people. There's this like seriousness to it that energy, it was so much more hopeful when he was younger. It's like the hope of being able to help. So yeah, he needs an environment of freedom, an environment of love, just more openness and space in his time. And so that's what the spirit guide is guiding him towards. So it's order that he needs, but different rules, different kind of order. And this order involves just having so much less, so many fewer appointments. So many people, he's just going to have to cut out of his life. He already has, like his body has done it for him. So many people that he has to cut out of his life. So many, I'm seeing just all of these open doors that are just being shut. He didn't quite have the boundaries that contribute to a life of freedom. Saying yes to too many things, overseeing too many people, and really like having the mental capacity for it, having the enthusiasm for it, but just not having the bandwidth. Just like so much forcing, and just so much allowing so much chaos. And it was part of that workaholic tendency that people get addicted to, because it's easier to think about the things that are controllable and predictable than to go into the silence and be left with yourself. Something that the ego does. The ego gets attached to things, addicted to things, and chooses the things that are going to be the most distracting. And it's a survival mechanism of the ego. And it works great in a lot of cases until it doesn't, until it's like the soul can only take so much. The soul can only take so much quieting before there's an effect on the body. So what I'm seeing, like I keep seeing it in this place where I saw this, this beautiful energy from when he first met his wife. Like that was his soul just shining through his life, and in his soul motivating him. Just that true, that love inside of him, that soul urge for expansion inside of him. So that was just shining like crazy. And and his body was healthy, and and little babies just have it like shining from every pore of their body. That's why everybody just wants to stare at little babies, and why everybody just wants to shower them with gifts. It's like they're just pure light from God. And so so he just had that life force energy shining from him. But within that is the desire to be happy, the desire to continue to expand, the desire to feel love, the desire to feel peace. These are all the desires of the soul. And so if something becomes out of balance that doesn't let the soul shine, the soul wants to bring it back into balance. And then the ego is like the counterforce. And the ego is trying to keep itself alive, trying to keep the body alive. But, you know, the ego can have some pretty twisted, unhealthy ways of keeping itself alive. The ego wants to keep things the same, wants to keep things predictable. And so if Jordan Peterson, as the avatar that he is right now, has survived, has kept his body alive this entire time with this trauma and in this dissonance from his childhood, then his ego wants to keep the dissonance alive and wants to keep the trauma exactly where it is, stuffed down. You know, the ego hid it for a reason, hid it for survival reasons. But that can only serve a person so long. The soul wants love. The soul wants to expand. And when the soul is shut down, the life force is shut down, and you will see the results in the body. So that's what's going on here. Like I'm seeing this light wanting to pull him to healing and happiness. And so in that way, an illness can be such a gift. It can be such a gift just to force you to slow down, force you to simplify, force you to cut out all those relationships and habits that aren't serving you. And the love of his family is what it's the thing that's keeping him alive, the thing that will save him. And it's the thing that he will keep at the top of his priority list from now on. So he has a guide in his power chakra that is orchestrating all of this. The power chakra is also associated with the immune system. So that's good. That's good. Very strong, powerful energy guiding him through the intelligence of his power chakra, the intelligence of his immune system. Lovely. What else? It's guardian angel. The guardian angels like to show up in these celebrity spirit readings. Seems like in almost every one, I see the guardian angel. This guardian angel is just so proud of his life, so proud of the life of Jordan Peterson, everything that he's accomplished. And just like I would suspect, the guardian angel is very close to him because he's just really trying to protect him and guide him. So this guardian angel is telling me like what the origin of this suspicion of spiritual attack. So there was a period of where Jordan Peterson was just nonverbal in the ICU, mostly nonverbal, just incoherent, was not able to communicate clearly. And he basically, you know, in dreams, in pain. So he's like in so much pain that his body is flooding him with, you know, natural painkillers, which can be very psychedelic. I know from going through child labor, you know, I mean, not child labor, childbirth, the process of childbirth. I ended up having an emergency cesarean, but I went through 24 hours of labor before the emergency cesarean. And I remember in between contractions, just being so high, like so high. I was like, I feel like I am on drugs. Like I was like, that was funny. It's on video. It's on video somewhere. But yeah, I felt like I was like, I feel so high right now. Like I felt like I was on the best psychedelics of my life. Like I was like seeing, you know, I was seeing mild colors, but mostly just felt like so blissed out. So so the body has these like the body and the brain has these like natural ways to calm you down, to kill your pain, and also to connect you with the divine. So basically, Jordan Peterson, through those natural things in his body, had like a psychedelic experience. He was like looking into his own energy field, and he saw his own demons, just like I was talking about. Like he saw his own demons, and it felt like the energy of his enemies. And so because he has had so much negative attack, which I'm sure has just felt awful to him and his family at times, he associated that feeling of being surrounded by negative entities. He associated it with other people right now. But what he's actually sensing is his own demons, his own entities, his own negative energy from childhood. And and just to be clear, it's like the law of attraction. It when you have an experience that makes you an experience as a child that makes you feel small, violated, afraid, whatever the negative emotions may be, because you are in a programming mode, then you believe that your brain is in a programming mode when you're a child. You believe that that's what the world is like, and because you believe that that's what the world is like, then you are vibrating out that belief, and you are magnetizing in, calling in experiences and people and circumstances that match that vibration. And so he has done it his whole life. He's called in matching vibrations his whole life. So he is surrounded by negative energy that originated from negativity in the online community. But it was only able to come in, he was only a matching vibration to it because of the trauma from childhood. So just to be really clear, it's like how what they call the law of attraction, how it works. So yeah, that's what the whole thing is with spiritual attack. Like he is feeling so much that there is a spiritual element to what's going on, and he's right, but he is misconstruing what that energy actually is. So can he figure this out? Can he get to the root of this and pull it out? This is what this guide, the spirit guide, is wanting to lead him towards. This is what his guardian angel is wanting to lead him towards. But they're both telling me, like, this is a stubborn man. This is a stubborn man that has, like, as many questions as he asks, as much as he has had a questioning mind, what I'm hearing is that he kind of loves it that there's no answer. He loves it. That's like part of the intrigue with these philosophical questions, that there's no answer. And the answers that he has found, he just is really sticking to those as truths. So it's this stubbornness, the stubbornness that he's copying from his father. But the person who has the possible ability to convince him is his daughter, Mikhaila. She's definitely more open-minded, definitely just curious about new technologies, new ideas. And she brings a lot of people onto her YouTube channel that are talking about things that her dad is totally not interested in. So yeah, like she's the one person who has the ability to at least bring this to him. But she's just in she's stressed out. Oh my gosh, poor baby. She's so stressed out. She is just in such a state of nervous system dysregulation right now. And she's also experiencing that thing that I talked about at the beginning of the reading, where Jordan Peterson was like psychically feeling the energy of his mother's wounds and his mother's fears. Like it's passed down to his daughter. So yeah, they will continue to do the best that they possibly can. And he is going to survive. His life will be much smaller. This is a huge learning experience for her. There was a story that she told in that video. Part of what made her feel like there was a spiritual element to this is that her infant had to go to the ICU the same day that her father went to the ICU. And what's coming through for me to tell you is kind of an equal thing, equal magnitude, that the day, a personal story, the day that we found out that my late husband, had cancer, his father died of cancer that day. Like, we got the call that morning that his father had passed away, and we were on the way to the doctor to get his results, and found out that he had cancer on that same day. So what Mikhaila is calling spiritual attacks is their souls calling them to see the dissonance in their lives, calling them to see that some things are seriously out of balance, and bringing it together with a synchronicity like that, so that they have to stop and go, what the hell is going on here? What is going on? But they just haven't been able to calm down enough to get that clarity to see all of it. And it would come through with meditation. Prayer can be a type of meditation. It's just a lot quieter. Instead of talking to God, you're listening to God. Yeah, I just see so much that they're so smart. Their hearts are in the right place. There's so much love. They're just going to keep on doing the best that they possibly can. Keep learning. Keep searching for solutions. Keep prioritizing the love and peace in their family. Yeah, I wish I could wrap it up in a bigger, prettier bow than that, but this is just it's just life, you know? It's one short chapter in a much greater story. And they're doing the best they can. We're all doing the best we can. Anything else? One final thing wants to come through. See what it is. Something in his heart from the past. Oh, gosh. It is the feeling of love that he has. Oh my gosh, it's so strong. The feeling of love that he has for his followers and his students. And they're like putting it in my heart right now. Like, oh man, I could just burst into tears right now. Oh my gosh. So yeah, it's like what wants to come through is that like this love that he has felt, having the opportunity to be in the position that he's been in the world, like it has been his purest, strongest experience of love that he's ever had. And it's that love really that has fueled him putting himself out there. So I think that what I'm sensing and why this wants to come through is for anyone who's listening to this, who has just depended on his teachings so much and had so much hope for his teachings, that there's this feeling of fear and sadness that these teachings are going to go away. But what I'm hearing is that he still feels that love so strong, and he's feeling it so clearly. That's part of the love that he's feeling. It's not just from his family. He's feeling the very true love that he has for humanity and for his followers and for his students. He's feeling it so strongly. So that's part of what's keeping him alive. And that's the thing that's going to make him continue to oversee this school, the school that he has created. I forget what it's called, but there's an online school where they're just bringing together incredible teachings to share with the world. It's like a college. It's like an online college that he's created. So he will still oversee it. And it's that love for his followers. And he has taught so many people. He's made such a contribution that he will, it's like, it's not lost. It's not lost. There's so much that's been recorded. There's so much that's been written. There's so much more that you, as a student of his, can just continue to dive into. And what's coming through is all of that truth, all of that profound wisdom. The root of all of it is from God. It's from source energy. All of the solutions, everything that you have heard from Jordan Peterson that has felt like your salvation, it came from God. And you have that connection to God. You have that same connection to God. So if you can just quiet your mind, clear out the dissonance, you can do it through meditation. You can do it through exercise, getting into the flow state in whatever way you want to get into the flow state, whether it's fishing or painting or cooking, whatever it is that gets you in that brain state, or meditation. Even just 5 minutes a day can make such a huge difference in your psyche. But there's this clearing out that needs to happen. And you can ask your heart. You can follow that guidance in your heart. It's always there. When the answer is yes, you'll feel an upward. It's a whole body muscle response, but the biggest sensation of it is right there in your chest. When it's a yes, you'll feel an upward. If it's strong, you'll feel it all the way up into your neck, like happy, happy. And then when it's a no, it'll be downwards, and there will be a constriction, a tightness, and the energy will be moving down. You can also stand up and ask your heart yes or no questions. And when it's a yes, you'll feel your body go slightly forward. And when it's a no, you'll feel your body go slightly back. It takes some practice, but that signal is there. And it's your soul. It is your soul. It's that drop of source energy. It's right there in your heart and in the hearts of everyone. So yeah, it's like it's like Jordan Peterson has opened up so many portals and he's helped so many people, but it all came from God. And you also have a connection from God, connection to God, because God is the thing that's animating your body and your mind. Your soul is a drop of water from the ocean of God. So that's it. That's it. That was beautiful. That was beautiful love. He loves you guys so much. Oh my gosh. Woo. That was a beautiful feeling of love. Oh, so grateful. So grateful to have the opportunity to look into his energy field. I always do ask for permission, by the way, ask for permission from the angels and guides of each person that I look into their energy field. I'm so grateful for my work. So grateful to connect with you who's watching this video. So grateful to be living at the same time someone who has contributed so much to the world. And thank you so much for being here. If you would like guidance with your own situation, if you would like for me to take a peek into your own energy field, then you can see all of my offerings and everything else that I have going on at my website at queenwortham.com. There will be a link below this video. There's a link in my bio. You can also find me on Instagram. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. I'm sending you love. Bye-bye.